Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I'm super excited to be your guide today because we're going to explore one of the most amazing, complex, and just downright fascinating structures in the entire universe. And you know what the best part is? You're literally living inside it right now. Yep, we're talking about the human body. Think of your body like a bustling, high-tech, impenetrable fortress. It's got its own transport systems, ventilation shafts, and of course, massive defense walls to keep out tiny invaders. So let's dive right in and see exactly how our body fortress actually works.
Here's the map for our inner space journey today. First, the ultimate delivery team. Then, an animal heartbeat showdown. Number 3, breathe in, breathe out. 4, measuring lung capacity. 5, meet the microscopic microbes. And finally, number 6, defending our body fortress.
All right, section 1, the ultimate delivery team. Okay, so every fortress needs a way to move supplies around, right? Well, your body has the absolute ultimate delivery team, and it's working 24/7. The scientific name for this delivery team is the circulatory system. Now, whenever 2 or more organs team up to do a specific job, we call that a body system. In this case, your heart acts as a super powerful pump, and it connects to a giant network of tubes called blood vessels. Working together, they circulate, which just means they move, blood all around your body. And this blood, it's absolutely crucial. It delivers oxygen and nutrients to every single cell in your body, basically keeping your fortress totally powered up and healthy. So how exactly does this blood travel around? Well, there are 3 main types of tubes, or blood vessels, in this system. First up, we've got arteries. Think of these as the fast highways carrying oxygen-rich blood away from the heart. Second, we have capillaries. These are incredibly tiny tubes where the actual drop-off happens. They literally hand over the oxygen and food to your cells and pick up the waste. And third, we have veins. Veins are the return trip. They carry the blood, which is now low on oxygen, right back to the heart. Oh, and here's a super cool fact. You might look at your wrist right now and think your veins are blue, but blood is always, always red. Your veins just kind of look blue because they're sitting close to your skin. Now, just how massive is this delivery network? Try 100,000 kilometers. No, seriously, if you took every single artery, capillary, and vein out of your body and laid them all out in one long straight line, they would wrap around the entire Earth more than twice. That is how much tubing is packed inside your body right this very second. Just incredible, right? Moving on to section 2, animal heartbeat showdown. Now that we know how the human heart and blood vessels work, it's time for a little competition. But before we look at the competitors, we gotta know their category, which is vertebrates. Now, a vertebrate is simply an animal that has a backbone. You have a backbone, so guess what? You're a vertebrate. Whales, horses, cats, and birds have backbones too. And across the animal kingdom, tons of vertebrates have a circulatory system just like ours, but their heart rates, well, they can be wildly different. All right, in one corner, we have the massive blue whale. Because it's just so absolutely enormous, its heart really doesn't need to beat very fast to push blood through that giant body. It only beats about 30 times a minute. But in the opposite corner, we have a tiny hummingbird. Hummingbirds are super small and they burn a ton of energy zooming around all day, so their tiny little hearts have to beat at an incredibly rapid pace, over 200 beats per minute. So the big takeaway here is that the size of an animal makes a massive difference in how often its heart has to beat to keep its delivery team working.
Let's head into section 3, breathe in, breathe out.
Okay, so we've totally mastered the blood delivery system, but what about the oxygen that the blood actually carries? Like, where does it come from? Well, that brings us to our internal ventilation experts, the respiratory system. Now, breathing might seem super simple, right? But it's actually this brilliant 2-stage mechanical process called a complete breath. Step 1 is the inhale. When you breathe in, a special muscle right beneath your lungs called the diaphragm contracts and pulls downwards. At the exact same time, your ribs lift up. This acts just like a giant bellows, making space for your lungs to suck in fresh, clean oxygen. Then comes step 2, the exhale. Your diaphragm relaxes and moves back up, your chest shrinks, and this squeezes your lungs to push the waste gas, which is called carbon dioxide, right out of your body. Next up is section 4, measuring lung capacity. So now we understand the mechanics of how we breathe, but it really makes you wonder exactly how much air are we moving in and out of our personal body fortress every single day? Seriously, take a guess right now. How many complete breaths, one inhale and one exhale, do you think you take in a single 24-hour day? Is it 100? 1,000? Try about 20,000 breaths. Seriously, no way, right? but it's true. That is a ton of work for your respiratory system. Because we breathe so much, scientists actually like to measure our lung capacity. Lung capacity is just the total volume or the maximum amount of air that your lungs can hold at one time. Now, everyone's body fortress is a slightly different size, which means different people have different lung capacities. If you take the absolute biggest, deepest breath you possibly can right now, you are filling your lungs to their total maximum capacity. Moving right along to Section 5, meet the microscopic microbes. Up until now, we've talked about how perfectly our body systems run. But our fortress isn't always 100% safe. Sometimes there are invaders trying to breach our walls. We call these microbes, which are tiny living germs. The word micro literally means very, very small. They are so incredibly tiny that you absolutely cannot see them just by looking at your hands or your desk. You'd have to use a powerful microscope just to spot them. Now, to be fair, many microbes are actually totally harmless, and some even help us digest our food. But under certain conditions, harmful microbes can invade our bodies and cause what we call infectious diseases. So, here are the 4 main types of harmful microbes you really need to know about. When these bad guys actually manage to enter your body, we say you're infected. First, we have bacteria, which can cause things like whooping cough. Second, we have viruses, which are responsible for things like the common cold. Then we have fungi, which can cause this super itchy skin infection called athlete's foot. And finally, parasites, which can cause serious illnesses like malaria. These are the specific villains our body fortress constantly needs to watch out for. It's also super critical to understand where these microbes actually like to live and grow. While microbes absolutely love environments that are warm and wet. I mean, have you ever seen fuzzy green mold growing on an old piece of bread? Gross, right? Well, mold is actually a type of fungus. If you put damp bread in a really warm place, that mold is going to grow extremely fast. But if you put dry bread in a cold fridge, it won't. Harmful microbes are exactly the same way. They absolutely thrive when it's warm and moist. And that brings us to our final part, Section 6, defending our body fortress. All right, so we know who the bad guys are and what kind of environments they like. This final step of our explainer today is probably the most important part, learning exactly how we defend our body fortress from these invaders. Now, usually our body's natural defenses fight off these microbes without any problem at all. But sometimes a harmful microbe spreads way too fast, jumping from person to person across completely different countries. When this happens, we call it a public health emergency. This is a serious, really unusual disease that spreads quickly and puts people all over the entire world in danger. Basically, when our personal body fortresses get overwhelmed, the whole world has to team up to fight back. In a public health emergency, global health experts basically turn into a mega defense squad. 2 recent examples of public health emergencies caused by viruses were COVID-19 and Zika. When these viruses started spreading, scientists and doctors all around the globe rushed to work together. They tracked exactly how the diseases were being transmitted, they treated the sick patients, they told people to use mosquito repellent to stop Zika, and they developed amazing cures and vaccines for COVID-19 to save lives. It is literally global teamwork at its finest. But hey, you don't have to be a world-famous scientist to defend your fortress. You are the frontline commander of your own health. To keep your circulatory and respiratory systems running perfectly, and to keep those infectious diseases away, you really only need to do 3 main things. 1, exercise to keep your heart and lungs strong. 2, eat a balanced diet to give your cells the exact nutrients they need. And 3, most importantly, practice good hygiene. Doing simple things like washing your hands with soap will literally wash those invisible microbes right down the drain before they even get a chance to invade. And that brings us to the end of our amazing biological journey. Your body is an absolute marvel of science. I mean, it packs thousands of miles of blood vessels, takes 20,000 breaths a day, and is just constantly fighting off microscopic villains. So I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. Knowing how incredibly hard your internal delivery team works to keep you alive and healthy, what simple hygiene habit will you use today to help defend your body fortress? Go wash those hands, keep your fortress strong, and keep on learning. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.